Hong Kong to Belarus to China, 2020 has been a challenging year for a free press and access to information. But lawmakers Thursday mainly scrutinized the decisions of new U.S. International Broadcasting CEO Michael Pack, who ignored a congressional subpoena to appear and answer the committee's questions.
He is making a mockery of a U.S. agency that has long enjoyed strong bipartisan support. And he has shown tremendous disrespect for the committee, our committee, and its role overseeing USAGM. He's the wrong person for the job. He should resign, and if he doesn't, the president should fire him.
Pack is a former documentary filmmaker who has previously headed public and government broadcasting efforts. He testified last September he respects the news agency's editorial independence.
The whole agency rests on the belief that the reporters are independent, that no political influence is telling them how to report the news.
During his 2-year-long confirmation process, Democrats alleged Pack had misused funds from his documentary production company, while Senate Republicans praised his experience.
This man is uniquely qualified to hold this position.
But Pack's decisions since taking charge in June have concerned lawmakers from both parties.
CEO Pack has ignored the will of Congress and withheld millions of dollars in funding from OTF. This is not a typical D.C. policy discussion. I believe his actions damaged support during the height of unrest in Hong Kong, and they are continuing to do so today in Belarus. Their tragic lack of support to freedom and democracy movements is also regrettable.
The Open Technology Fund, a group that uses U.S. government grants to promote internet freedom worldwide, is suing USAGM, alleging it breached its contracts by withholding $18 million in funds.
The goal is not to resolve evidence-based concerns, but rather to discredit OTF. More devastating, the agency continues to withhold nearly $20 million in congressionally allocated funds, forcing OTF to halt 49 out of its 60, or 80%, of its ongoing internet freedom programs.
In June, Pack fired several executives in what Senator Bob Menendez of New Jersey called a wholesale firing spree.
To date, more than 3 months later, no successors have been named to replace me or my counterparts at the other networks. Sadly, CEO Pack's arrival has brought only more chaos and uncertainty to U.S. international broadcasting. The turmoil could not come at a worse time. To be blunt, I fear we are falling behind our competitors in the information space.
USAGM has been criticized in a government audit for improperly conducting security checks on some of its journalists, an issue some Republicans praised Pack for addressing.
The reforms undertaken by Mr. Pack have undergone a significant amount of public scrutiny, as they should. But USAGM's poor vetting procedures over those last decades continue to threaten U.S. national security, and it's entirely the fault of those who mismanaged the process.
But one decision was roundly criticized by lawmakers from both parties. Pack ordered a security review that resulted in a failure to renew the J-1 visas of foreign journalists working at VOA.
We bring people here. We ask them to be honest and to speak truth to countries where speaking truth can get you killed, or at least imprisoned. Then Mr. Park denies their the application, refuses to file the application to extend their J-1 visas, which means they're subject to deportation to the very place that we ask them to tell truth to, a country where truth is illegal.
At least 5 VOA journalists have departed the country since their work permits expired, and as many as 20 more are expected to leave by the end of the year. Pack has defended his focus on security by suggesting being a journalist could be a cover for being a spy.
It's incredibly dangerous for the USAGM head to start basically writing the press release that the Kremlin can then turn around and use the next week about USAGM journalists.
In a letter to Chairman Engel, PAC said he could not appear before the committee due to a scheduling conflict and offered several possible dates for his testimony in October, when the U.S. House is expected to be out of session. Catherine Gibson, VOA News, Washington.